2:46 in the afternoon. Shock waves from the earthquake reach the plant. The reactors active at the time automatically go into shutdown. Then the plant loses power. Generators kick in to keep cooling the reactors. 50 minutes later, tsunami waves engulf the reactor buildings and flood the generators. The plant suffers a station blackout, cutting out power to all cooling systems. Around 6:50 p.m., fuel rods inside Reactor 1 overheat and start melting down. The overheated nuclear fuel interacts with water to produce hydrogen gas. The next day, 3:36 p.m., a hydrogen explosion partially destroys the reactor building. Workers start pumping in seawater to try to cool things down, but it's not enough. They're unable to prevent 2 more hydrogen explosions over the next 3 days. Engineers reveal later that something far more serious was underway, a triple meltdown. The situation escalates into a level 7 nuclear accident, the maximum on the International Nuclear and Radiological Event Scale. The TEPCO general manager told NHK World the incident defied all expectations.
Difficult to actually imagine that situation, especially just a station blackout. We have been being trained and using the simulators, so it's not so a big surprise. But station blackout continued for an extended time period, very long, and also it happened not only at the one plant but multi-plants.
2 years later, engineers are still struggling to contain radioactive material and understand what's going on inside. Workers have covered Reactor 1 with a protective tarp, and they're building hard shells around Reactors 3 and 4. They've installed cooling systems to try to keep nuclear fuel at temperatures that are safe. TEPCO officials say they've managed to keep emissions of radioactive particles under control. But inside, radiation levels are so high, it would take only about an hour for a person to be exposed to a fatal dose. So workers will be challenged in the efforts to decommission the reactors. The process could take between 30 and 40 years. Workers still have to figure out what to do with thousands of spent fuel rods in the reactor buildings. Workers need to keep them at a stable temperature to prevent a meltdown. Engineers are building the necessary infrastructure to remove the rods and facilities in which to store them. TEPCO officials also need to deal with water that is highly contaminated. Workers pump more than 100 cubic meters of water through each of 3 reactors to prevent them from meltdown every day. The officials say up to 400 tons of underground water seeps in on a daily basis. Engineers are racing to build additional tanks, but they're running out of space. More than 600 square kilometers of land around the plant is still an evacuation zone, and over 150,000 residents cannot go back home.